guys? Welcome back to another video. And with no further ado, let's get into my picks. Starting it off with tonight's game, Eagles at the Giants, NFC East battle. Philly coming off that really embarrassing loss to the Broncos where it kind of exposed all their flaws on offense and really exposed that this team, offensively is not really the greatest. The Giants kind of blew an opportunity against the Saints to be 2-3 and at least make some of the season. Um, and while it is in New York, I'm going to take the Eagles. They have dominated the Giants for years, outside of a couple wins in New York. Um, but Philly should be, they are the better team, and yeah. Moving on to the London game, Broncos at the Jets. Denver, back-to-back wins, including an impressive win against the Eagles. Taking on a Jets team, still looking for their first win of the year, and I don't think it comes this week. I think Denver, at defense, obviously still one of the best units in the league. And that offense starting to get things going, starting to play better in London. I think the Broncos hold on and get the win and move on to 4-2 and could be on a 3-game winning streak by the end of the week. Moving on to the Sunday slate, starting off Browns at the Steelers. No more Joe Flacco. He was traded to Cincinnati. We'll talk about them later. Dylan Gabriel nearly won his first start against against the Vikings. Taking on a Pittsburgh team off the bye, healthier. And I'm going to go with Pittsburgh at home. Cleveland will keep this close with their defense, but I expect the Steelers at home, who have dominated Cleveland at home at least, to get the win. Moving on, Niners at the Bucks. No status on whether Brock Purdy will play or not. I think they should just keep Mac Jones. He's been the better quarterback. I know Purdy's been injured, but even when he was healthy in week one, he didn't look the greatest. Mac has looked pretty well, even though he was hobbled um, in last Thursday night's game, taking on a Bucks team that looks like a for real deal contender. Battle of the 4-1s. Mayfield versus Jones. I'm gonna go with Tampa at home. The Bucks. I mean, both teams are banged up, but Tampa seemingly can just win. Um, no matter what. I mean, if it wasn't for the slow start against the Eagles, they might have won that game because they dominated the second half against Philly. So it's like, I think at home against the banged up Niners team, Mayfield and the Bucks offense, which has been clicking despite offensive line and receiver injuries, and that defense, while still injured in the secondary, I think can make it hard on Mac Jones, and the Bucks move to 5-1. Moving on, Cowboys at the Panthers. A battle of two interesting teams. Like Dallas's offense has been amazing. Their defense, on the other hand, against good offenses has not looked great. The Giants offense looked amazing, but the Jets offense, which isn't really that good, looked horrible. The stats might make it seem differently, but the Jets offense is not that great. Taking on a Panthers team that came back down 17. At home, they've been better. So you're thinking, oh, Carolina should win this game. They're at home. Rico Dowdle made some comments about how Dallas should be buckled up or something like that, ready to play. Um, and well, Carolina's defense did look pretty good against the run. I just trust Dallas's offense more to get the win. I just trust Dak Prescott, George Pickens in this offense. Despite the O-line injuries, despite CeeDee Lamb still being out, I just trust Dallas's offense more, even though it would be cool to see Carolina win back-to-back games for the first time in seems like forever. Moving on to Seattle at the Jags. Jacksonville coming off that huge um technical upset because I think KC was favored even though Jacksonville had the better record. Taking on a Seattle team that went toe to toe with Tampa Bay, but a late turnover by Darnold led to Seattle losing it. I think this will be a great game. I think Jacksonville's offense um is starting to get better, and this defense is still really good. At home, I really want to take the Jags, but I feel like Seattle's gonna have a bounce back week. So I'm gonna take the Hawks to bounce back. I think they'll be able to play well. Um, Seattle's defense, I know they gave up 38 points, but I think it'll bounce back against a up and down Jags offense, and Seattle gets the win. Moving on, Rams at the Ravens. I'm sorry to any Ravens fans, but I'm going with LA. I just don't trust this defense. I'm surprised Zach Orr at least hasn't been demoted or they haven't changed, who's going to be calling the defensive plays at least. Like, I get not firing him, but you got to make some changes to who's calling the defense. They haven't done any of that. And this is a Rams team coming off a loss they should have won, or a game they should have won. And we saw Houston's offense, which hadn't really been anywhere good. I think this LA offense, much healthier, better offensive line, um, get the win. Moving on, Cardinals at the Colts. Arizona coming off that blown lead, taking on an Indy team that looks on fire. I mean, Indy looks like a for real deal contender, and I think that continues. I mean, the Colts moved to 5-1. They look impressive. Jonathan Taylor has been off to probably his best start since 2021, when he led the league in rushing, and really carried that Colts offense. And I think Arizona's starting to fall apart after that 2-0 start, makes that 4 straight losses. Moving on, Chargers at the Dolphins. Miami blew a 17-point lead to a not great Carolina team. Now have to come back home against a Chargers team, lost back to back. Amarin Hampton's now going to be out at least 4 weeks, along with Alt and Slater and Khalil Mack. The injuries are piling up on LA, taking on a Dolphins team that you think this would be a get-right game for Miami. Get their second win, upset a really good Chargers team. But I'm going to go with LA to pull off the win. I think everybody's sort of downing LA after Washington kind of dominated them, but I think in a get-right spot against a Dolphins team that have a lot of their games outside of the Colts game have been winnable. They just haven't been able to perform in the clutch and get the win. And I think the Chargers defense, bringing Dafe away from the Ravens to help out that pass rush, I think can make Tua uncomfortable. And if LA's offense can just be able to do enough, I think they can get the win. Tennessee at Vegas, a battle of two teams that don't look anywhere good. Vegas has looked maybe the worst team since week 1. Tennessee coming off their first win of the year. And I'm going to say Tennessee rides some momentum. I know Vegas almost beat the Bears, but Gino has been turning the ball over so much. And he's kind of regressed from what he was in Seattle the past couple of years. And Tennessee, while I don't think Brian Callahan is a good head coach, I think they can ride the momentum of coming back against Arizona, and they can be able to win this game against the Raiders team that, they just released Jermaine Pratt, They brought him in to help out the linebacking core, which has been all right with cast-offs, former first rounders like Devin White and Jamal Adams. But I think Tennessee can get 2 straight wins and drop the Raiders to 1-5. Moving on, Patriots at the Saints. New England coming off that huge upset against the Bills on the road, taking on Spencer Rattler and the Saints. I'm gonna trust New England. Yeah, New Orleans will keep this close. It will be close. Like New Orleans, outside of that Seattle game, which if it wasn't for a couple of special teams, um, if it wasn't for like a couple of special teams mistakes by New Orleans, giving up the punt return touchdown, a block punt, leading to Seattle getting the ball in New Orleans territory, that game would have been a lot closer. And they've shown, even against a really good Bills team, they kept it close and almost had the lead at one point. They'll keep it close, but New England, better talent, get the win. Bengals at the Packers. Joe Flacco starting for Cincinnati, taking on a Packers team off the bye, looking to get some momentum. And when I say the Packers get the win, I mean, I didn't really understand the Joe Flacco move. Like, I get wanting to bring in another quarterback because Jake Browning hasn't been very good outside of a fourth quarter against the Lions, but it's like is Joe Flacco really like we saw him in Cleveland, and I know the offense isn't the greatest, and he'll have better weapons at least at the wide receiver position than he does in Cleveland, but it's like is Joe Flacco really going to help this offense look better than it has been? I don't think so. And I think Green Bay's defense can have a get right game in this offense, which hopefully can be healthier off the bye, can get a win and move to 3-1-1. Moving on, Lions at the Chiefs. Detroit, they won 4 straight since that inexplicable loss to the Packers in week 1, taking on a Chiefs team that coming off a hard loss to a Jaguars team that looks really, really good. Um, so you could say this is a get right game for the Chiefs to move to 3-3 and at least stay alive. But I'm gonna say the Lions, they have looked unstoppable. They have just looked like maybe the best team so far through 5 weeks. Like outside of week 1, the last 4 weeks, Detroit has looked unstoppable. Nobody has been able to contain this offense, and I think it'll continue with the Lions moving to 5-1 and the Chiefs falling to 2-4, which very much is possible. Moving on to Sunday Night Football. Bills at the Falcons. Atlanta off the bye, off that huge win to at least keep the season alive. Taking on a Bills team frustrated off a loss. And I'm going to say the Bills moved to 5-1. I think off the loss against New England, they kind of lost the game because Josh Allen and the offense was just turning the ball so much. If they keep those turnovers to a minimum like they had been the first 4 weeks of the season, which is why they were 4-0 for one reason. I know the defense is still banged up, and I think Atlanta's offense could realistically put up some points on this Bills defense that has been vulnerable, but I just think Buffalo, the better team. I know on the road in Atlanta, but I think the Bills confidently can win this game and be 5-1. And then Bears at Washington off the bye. Chicago's won back to back. Feels like a new era in Chicago. Obviously, the rematch of last year's game, the Hail Mary that sort of led to the spiral of the Bears season and kind of led to the team falling apart. But no Terry McLaurin, it seems like. Um, at least that's what reports are today. We'll see if if he doesn't practice tomorrow, then it's most likely that he's not going to be playing. Um, Jaden Daniels and that Washington offense still look pretty good against a banged up LA team. Mm. And I'm gonna say the Bears on the road get their revenge. Chicago off the bye. They've looked pretty good. This offense, outside of the running game, this offense has looked really good. Caleb has had more time and has been playing much better. And this defense, they gave up 52 to the Lions, but outside of that has been a pretty good shutdown defense. And I think against this Washington offense, still without Terry, Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, I think will be a factor, but I think this Bears team is able to get their third straight win and maybe compete in an NFC where a lot of the top teams haven't been, you know, dominating like everybody thought they were. I think Chicago could be a sneaky wild card team, and we'll just have to see. But those are my picks for this week. Hope you guys like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will catch you guys on Monday of next week. I'll be making a mock draft um 1.0 halfway through the college football season to see what these players or see what players are at the top right now. And then obviously I'll have my recap on Tuesday and then I'll have my picks video on Thursday. But let me know down in the comments, what other videos you want me to do. And until next time, hope you guys have a great day and bye.